Annual meeting for the 17th July meeting to order. Will the newly elected officers and returning officer please come up by the flag and we'll take our oath.
Gotta move again, Karen.
Yep.
Hair does look good.
Will the minister of the oath of office seated? Will you raise your right hand? And I'll just read the oath and responses I do if you agree. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota, and that you will faithfully and impartially perform your duties as a member of the school board of the Madison Central School District, Lake County, South Dakota, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified?
I do.
Your oath you can sign now.
Here's another pen if you need it.
Then you can re-sign your current oath. Sign.
All right.
She's not the only one.
Lovely Aflac one here. Cam doesn't want to. Right. No. Where do these go?
I'll take them back.
All right.
You can grab a seat.
There you go. Thank
Hold
you.
the spot where you sit is your spot for a long time.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
Choose your position.
Oh, boy, choose wisely. My son here. I don't know, maybe you guys should decide who you want to find. Whatever, I think we're elected, so I'll let you,
On this side.
all right. You read stuff.
You want to pass that down the wall?
Yeah. Oh, great, thank you.
Should be getting done with that.
And then at this time, I'll take nominations for board president for the 17-18 term.
There we go.
Any nominations for board president for 2017?
I nominate Tom Farrell.
Tom Farrell. Any other nominations? Seeing none, I'll ask that nominations cease and the unanimous ballot be cast for Tom Farrell for president. Is there a motion on that?
So moved. Or should I speak it out?
No, I could. Yep. And a second?
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. President Farrell, you can take the meeting.
All right, nominations and election for vice president.
Move that we nominate Cammy Sims.
We have a motion to nominate Pammy Sims. Is there a second? We don't have to have a second yet.
No.
Then any other nominations? Hearing none, a motion that we cease nomination and cast unanimous ballot would be in order. Is there a motion to that effect? Okay, Mrs. Cecil has that one. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Nelson. Further questions, discussions? Hearing none, all in favor of Mrs. Sims being our vice president again, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All passed. We're ready to go forward to item number 6 then. Approval of the agenda. We have no changes to the agenda, so I would entertain a motion that we approve the agenda as printed.
So moved.
Okay, Mrs. Sims has that one. Is there a second? Okay, by Mrs. Cecil. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Declare the motion to approve the agenda has been passed. Personnel actions, we have one on there, and that would be to add one additional behind-the-wheel instructor. Joe Bundy has completed his certification, and we had a very large number of students that are trying to drive this summer, and so that's the reason for the additional people to be on there. So that would be the only personnel action that we have, correct, Mr. Brooks? I would entertain a motion then that we approve Mr. Bundy as driver's ed behind-the-wheel instructor.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Miller has that one. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, by Mrs. Sims. Further questions or discussion?
Do you know, will he be doing hours yet this summer?
Yes.
He has done some already.
Oh, he
Yeah.
has, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as soon as he got his certification done, he's...
Well, I know that the classes and everything filled up, so
Yeah.
I didn't know if they had
Yep.
planned for that.
It worked out well, although we done it, but both kind of later in the summer.
Yeah, okay, thanks, thank you.
Okay, further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of personnel action signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Declare that is passed. I think the open enrollment, Mitch, is just one student, is that
We
correct?
have one student.
Okay, on the agenda it says applications, but it'd be only for
Oh, yeah.
one open enrollment of one application, and that would be 18-1. Is there action that the board wishes to take on that open enrollment application?
This is student looking to come into Madison, and they have students out of 10.
Okay. Any grade range or,
I don't know, I apologize for not knowing.
okay, that's all right.
I would guess kindergarten and have siblings, but I guess I'm wrong.
Sure.
So moved by Mrs. Sims. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, by Mrs. Cecil. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Declare the open enrollment application is approved. We have no delegations. Mr. Jorgensen submitted his superintendent's report. You want to maybe just pop that up there, Steve, for a second? And then much of that information is good news of things that are going. The one thing I would call your attention to is the fact of the policy review things that he's talking about in there that we probably will be doing there at the very bottom, and he's got a very nice schedule planned for that for us. So that's his report. The other thing that we have on there is the fact that we do have our joint convention that is in Sioux Falls, and it will be on the 10th and 11th of August. And by Wednesday is the final day for pre-registration to get the discount. Even if you can only make Thursday, it certainly is worth it. It begins about 7:30 with a nice breakfast, and then there's a main speaker that will kick the convention off. It concludes on the first day about 5 or 5:30, and then reconvenes again Friday morning, and generally ends by about 1 on Friday afternoon on there. District will cover costs for registration. District will also cover transportation if you desire. I'm going to attend. Mr. Jorgensen will be in attendance. If we get 3 board members, an administrator can attend for free. So I plan to attend. Mitch will get me registered. If you want to attend, let him know prior to Wednesday, and even if after Wednesday, we'll pay the extra fee. But think about that as a great way to go. Seeing some of the preliminary things of the program, and it looks like another great thing coming up with lots of different items there. The other thing I want to mention, I gave everybody a copy of the Good News Bulletin. This is the bulletin that ASBSD puts out on an annual basis that talks about all the good things that happen in the district. We're on page 42 of the bulletin, and I would encourage you to take that, put it someplace where others can see it and share it. I was able to pick this up on Saturday when I was in Pierre for our resolutions and policy committee meeting on Saturday morning. So I said, I'd like one for each of our board members. So brought those back, and certainly feel free to share those. Mr. Brooks, anything else from the administrator's report? Okay. Hearing none, then we go through a number of consent items, and those consent items are grouped. We'll do 11 through 16. The grouping does not limit, however, discussion concerning any item a member would like to have addressed. So if there's a question that you want to pull out of the consent and make it a separate item, we'll just pull that out and take action on there. Item number 11 is designation of the official newspaper being the Madison Daily Leader. Item number 12 is designation of bank depositories. Wells Fargo, First Bank and Trust, Great Western Bank, Dakota Federal Credit Union, and East River Credit Union. Item number 13 is appoint Mitchell Brooks, business manager, as treasurer of all funds of the school district, and authorize him to sign all checks approved by the board, including the trust and agency and impressed fund checks. Appoint the board president as co-signer of all checks approved by the board. Authorize Joel Jorgensen or another board member, and that was Mrs. Sims last year, as a co-signer on there. In the absence of either the business manager or the board president. Item number 14 is designate bonded employees, business manager and bookkeeper. That would be Mr. Brooks and Mrs. Oz for $100,000 each, and Mr. Postma, the activities director, for $15,000. And designate our legal counsel as being Lammers Kleibecker LLP of Madison as our legal counsel. And number 16, appoint business managers, authorized representatives for the food service program, our title programs, and our IDEA funding applications. And the superintendent is the authorized representative for all other federal and state programs. I guess for the sake of clarity, are there any of those you would like to pull out and have further discussion on? Hearing none, then I would entertain a motion for a consent agenda item of items number 11 through 16. So moved by Mr. Nelson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Miller. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the consent items 11 through 16 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Declare those have passed. Same with 17 through 22. If there's any of those that you would like to pull out and have further discussions on, we certainly may. We'll discuss each of them a little bit as we go through. Item number 17 is the Associated School Board's Emergency Bus Assistance Pack. And when we sign up for that, that's basically a two-way street. If a school district needs a bus and are in our area, and we have a bus available, we loan it to them. Likewise, if we're in an area and we need a bus because of mechanical problems, the districts there that participate would allow us to use that bus. And it happens not frequently, but every once in a while, and it's a tremendous plus for all the districts. State statutes require that we publish all of our staff salaries, and that's what is item number 18, and there's a link that goes out to that. We also are required by state statute to appoint a surplus property appraisers, and that would be Ricky Hansen, our Director of Maintenance, Steve Millage from our technology area, and Stan Fodds, our transportation person. And then number 21 is designate the meeting time and day of our board meeting. And that would be that we would meet on Mondays, second Monday of every month at 5:30. I guess the question I would have on that before we seek approval is there 5:30 the time we wish to continue to stay at?
I like it myself.
Okay,
I do too.
okay, on there. And then item 22 is, what's that?
Go ahead, I'm just joking.
Declare you out of order then? Did I declare you out of order?
I didn't want to say anything.
And then item number 22 is the district policies. We take action to indicate that the district policies, additions and revisions made as necessary during the school year, and that's as much a formality as we go through. I did not miss 19. I left that intentionally for the last one. 19 is, if you want to open that one up, Steve, is the link to our committees. As president, I have the option of appointing these. I think we discussed these with Rob and Lori when we were doing our orientation. I encourage you to take a look. We can certainly do some changing if we need to. And would entertain any kind of discussion on that. And if we do wish to change things, then we would pull it out of there.
We were talking about the health and
Okay.
committee.
We only have two board, and that's what we've historically had, Mitch, I believe, or have we had three?
Well, we've had two with the last little bit. Did you used to be on skate?
I used to be.
Okay. Did you want to be?
I kind of, you know,
The
I
thing that
would
was,
think would be
yeah.
valuable.
Okay, okay.
the thing that was set up with that, or the pattern that was somewhat labeled is there's like two from each area, 2 elementary, 2 middle school, 2 high school, 2 admin, 2 classified, and then 2 board. But it can, if we can get people that want to be on it, we take them.
Leah would like to be on there.
Would you? Okay.
Your feelings okay, Steve?
I'm
Are you good with
perfectly- Yeah.
Okay.
We don't want to hurt your feelings tonight.
Oh, it's okay, I'll tell you.
Okay.
If I keep my head up and then, you know.
So then what I think we'll do is we'll pull 19 out of the consent.
I think we can just adjust on it.
Okay, just adjust on it and make it as adjusted, okay? Any other questions, discussion?
Tammy, are you okay with Prairie Lakes? You were the alternate, so we kind of moved it up.
will.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
She's gonna have a little discussion on that Friday afternoon, somewhere between Miller and Highmore.
I've been the alternate for about 5 years, but never needed to rotate in, so.
But you could use your alternate then if you need to.
All right, anything else on the committees then? Hearing none, then I would entertain a motion to accept consent items 17 to 22 with the adjustments made to the standing committees that were made. Is there a motion to that effect?
So,
So moved by Mrs. Sims, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Hanemichael. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of consent items 17 to 22 signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. Declare that has passed. Item number 23, food service renewal. Mr. Brooks, that has your names written all over it.
Yeah, so what this document is, it's our charges that we get charged from our food service management company. And they were CDM, now they become Thrive Nutrition. They just made the change over the summer. Our contract is based on CPI index of food away from home. And the CPI change was 2.3%. And so then you want to click on the okay. Then or not that one, the one above it. That's the next one. And then the prices that are there are what the prices that we will pay them for the meals provided. It's also our 4th year of this renewal, which is in essence our 5th year, and the next year will be the year we would seek bids for the following year for that contract. The state only allows 5 years before bids. So you can kind of see the $2.81 for lunch, the $1.49 for breakfast, the $3.30 for adult, the $1.66 for adult breakfast, and then our a la carte items down below will reflect that 2.3% change. So it'd be our recommendation to approve this renewal for next year.
Move to approve.
Mr. Nelson moves to approve the contract with our food service. Is there a second?
so,
By Mrs.
Second.
Sims,
Sorry.
yep. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the food service contract renewal for 2017 and 2018, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Declare that that has passed. Mr. Brooks is back up again.
So then the next one is our recommended rates. What we are seeking to do is keep our rates the same as we did this year. The state has an index factor that requires us to increase each year. We applied for a waiver. We submitted a plan back in March that we'd like to keep our rate the same. They approved that tentative plan, and we submitted our waiver later in the spring or before school got out. They have not formally approved that waiver yet, but being that they approved our first plan, I believe that'll come through. So what I bring it forward is I'm asking the board if we can keep our pricing the same going into the next year. If the state for some reason denied it, told us we had to go from nickel or dime, I would bring that back to you, kind of to let you know we'd have to make that change. But we'd like to get notices out as soon as we hear from the state and then get that sent out so parents know what pricing will be. And then this document just kind of is something we provide at registration, but shows the pricing along the top, what the prices per meal, if they eat for each month and whether they eat for the year, just has some information. So if that's okay, we seek approval to keep food prices the same for this next year. And the reason we're doing this is our contract has been a very good contract over the number of years with CDM. And we've been able to keep a good cash reserve and still maintain our equipment as we need to.
So the administration's recommendation is to charge to students and adults the same rate as we have for 2016-17 for the coming year of 2017-18. Would someone like to make that as a motion? Mr. Miller makes the motion. Is there a second? Second by Mrs. Cecil. Further questions or discussion? It's a wonderful position to be able to be in.
Doesn't happen very often.
Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of setting those food service rates the same as last year, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. Declare that is passed. Item number 25. Mr. Brooks, you are really on a roll.
Yeah. So these are our annual agreements with Madison Regional Health Systems. They provide therapy services for our children with IEPs, and then they also provide nursing services for medications and many other things. And so if you click on maybe the therapy first, their rate is $77.56 per hour, and I kind of wrote up there what last year's rate on this for reference. So it just kind of changes with how they adjust their staff wages. And then the nursing one is the next one. The current rate that they're proposed to us is $53.58 per hour. And our prior was $52.02 per hour. So you can see the rate change. That includes not just their wages, but their benefits, their travel, their training, and they have to get specific training to then give us our medication training that we have at the school.
So it's a recommendation of the administration that we approve those agreements with the Madison Community Hospital. They're agreements we've had in place for a number of years, so entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Honmichael. Is there a second?
Second.
Second? Was that? All right, Lori. I'm going to learn the voice here.
Yes.
Okay. We have motion and a second to approve those agreements with Madison Community Hospital for therapy services and professional nursing services. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Declare that that is passed. Item number 26 is the first of many policies that we're going to bring forth. And according to Mr. Jorgensen, I have the wonderful opportunity to read the entire policy. And then we take action. So this is our policy DFDD, rental and service charges for musical instruments. It has not been reviewed or revised since 1998, so certainly something that needs to be done. The purpose of the rental fees for school-owned musical instruments is to recover some of the costs for the normal repair, maintenance, and replacement costs of instruments. The rental schedule applies to grades 6 through 12. And again, we're scratching that the 5th graders are exempt because if we state 6 through 12, that would take care of it. If any student has a problem paying the rental fees, arrangements will be made through the band instructor to see that the fee is covered by some other means. The following prices for rental of school-owned instruments for grades, and that should be corrected there to read grades 6 through 12, Mitch, if you want to.
I think the one above is supposed to be 5 through 12. Where it says grade 6 through, I think that actually is supposed to be 5 through 12. Because they're going to keep the same policy all the way through.
Okay, so that's something we'll have to clarify at the second reading.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of things we're going to clean up. So this is our first reading. We have a second reading, and then at the second reading, if we choose, we can still defer or we can approve it at that time. So we have to clarify whether it's 6 through 12 from above, and then if it's 5 through 12 at the bottom, we'll get that squared away. This was done with the music people also as a part of this. All right, so the following will be the charges. Marching band concert, marching/concert band instruments, $10 per semester, $20 per school year. This needs the initial investment into the instrument from the beginning. For example, 5th grade students, chooses to play tuba throughout the musical career, payment will go through the school when using the school-owned instrument. That section, those two sentences are more than likely going to be stricken from the policy, because I asked for clarification on those and we just didn't get it. So I think those may, in our second reading, also be cleaned up. If a student wishes to rent an instrument over the summer, if approved by the instructor and the principal, which is a change, the charge will be $5. The students must check out before school lets out for the summer and check it back in once the following school year starts. If the student no longer has the instrument, they're responsible for replacing the instrument or paying the difference of the missing instrument cost. If the instrument is donated to the district, it will be absorbed as a school-owned instrument. That may be one we want to get a further clarification as to what that means also. Or do you understand that?
There's a lot of alumni that will donate their instrument when they're done the program, or just
Okay.
for students to use. And so that was kind of put in there, so we make sure to recognize them, keep them on an inventory.
Okay.
But we don't really run a full rental program. You know, there's places in Sioux Falls, Brookings, and Watertown and everything that will rent to students. So we're not trying to replace their programs, but we do like rent to the students in need.
Okay. Then we'd be striking the following items. The board establishes the following prices for school-owned musical instruments for grades 6 through 12. Marching band instruments, $10 per year. You notice that since 1998, they're suggesting the price go up on a per semester basis instead of a per year basis. Concert band instruments that are used exclusively by one person, $10 per year will be struck. Concert band member instruments are shared by several people, $5 per year, that's going to be struck. And then in the past, there's been a band uniform fee of $10 per year, and the administration is suggesting that that be struck. And if student is requested by band instructor to play a school-owned instrument of the student's their own horn fee is $5 per year, and that would also be struck. So this would be the first reading of that particular policy. It appears like we've got at least a couple of clarifications or changes that we would have on that. And all we're doing is reading the policy. I guess I'd open it up, though, at this time to any discussion by the board members.
What we have is the two band directors met, went through the existing policy as it was. It hadn't been necessarily done in that manner before, so they kind of came up with a policy that they would work well for them, and then that was the principal and the superintendent kind of put together this recommendation for change.
So they're not gonna be charging for the band uniform?
Correct.
No. And the thought behind that is no charge for a football uniform.
Right.
You charge for one and not another.
Further questions, discussion by the board. We'll have a second reading and a revised policy, and if that appears to be the policy we wish to go with at our August meeting, we could approve it, or we could simply have a second reading and then approve it at a later date. But I think it'd be an advantage if we could approve the policy in August so it could be in effect.
That's why they brought this in for us, hoping to get it, so we can have first reading, second reading, and before school starts, have it.
Well, actually, a little short of band camp, probably they will have begun, but on there. All right, there's one other section to that policy, and that's file DFD/R. And this is the musical instrument rental request and receipt. I, in the name of the person, request the use of the following musical instrument from the Madison Central School District. Number 39-2, instrument serial or inventory number, condition of the instrument and existing damage at the time of the checkout, the rental period from such and such a date to such and such a date, and the amount that is owed by the student for that rental. We, the undersigned, student and parent, acknowledge receipt of the equipment and understand that while the equipment is rented to us, we bear total responsibility for it. We further agree to pay for all repairs and/or replacement costs should the equipment become damaged, lost, or stolen during the loan period. And then there would be a student signature, a parent signature, and a receipt number. That's pretty much what the existing form has on it now. If we, then the changes to that would be the instructor, this would be for the summer instrument. So the instructor would then approve that summer rental and sign it and date it, and then the building principal would also either approve or disapprove and sign and date. So basically, the two items in bold are things that we are putting in place with the form to allow us to be able to complete the policy if that passes the way it is. So further discussion or questions on those two policies?
One thing I'm wondering about, who fills this out? Does the instructor, I mean, are they gonna note the condition of the instrument, or is that
The form will come from the instructor.
okay?
It will be out on the website, so anybody could print it, but the instructor would have to sign on it also, so.
And I would assume at the time that it was signed out, if there was disagreement on damage, there would certainly be an opportunity to say, this is what I view.
Right.
And in today's world, more than likely, there'd be pictures taken and everything
good.
else.
I was thinking that, too.
That'd be nice. Just so there's no disagreement.
Yep. All right, so that concludes the reading of the policy. No action taken other than simply reading it. Item number 27 is acknowledgement of the high school handbook. Click on that, Steve. And whether it's the good news or the bad news, it's the same handbook we had last year. Obviously, the high school staff and administration feels what they had in place last year worked well, so they're making no changes. We again like to acknowledge this as a board so that we understand, the community understands that that's what the handbook will be for the 2017-2018 school year. So I would accept a motion to acknowledge the high school handbook. Okay, Mrs. Sims, is there a second? Okay. I'm gonna separate you two.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Or send you to voice training, one of the two. Or have Miller be my eyes over there, see which lips are moving. Again, any questions or discussion?
Page 8 still has 2016, 2017.
Page 8 does.
Page 8 does.
Okay. Mitch is making that note, I'm assuming.
We'll make that change. That's more of a grammatical. We'll
Yeah.
change
Yeah.
from there.
Anything else? Hearing none, all in favor of acknowledgement of the high school handbook signify by saying aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Nay. Declare the motion is passed. Time to discuss, first of all, does the board want to do another planning retreat? And secondly, if we do, can we look at some potential dates for that planning retreat? So do we want to continue our planning that we have done for, what now, 4 years probably, or 5? I'm not sure, probably at least.
I think every year I've been on.
Okay, so probably this is our 5th year then. Previous 4 we did. Okay, yeah. So is that something we want to continue to do?
I thought we were going to.
Okay,
I thought it was pretty good.
all right. Guess the next question goes to Mr. Miller.
Would the question be to Tom? Because it kind of, a lot of the responsibility somewhat has all of a sudden fallen on you the last 5 years. I believe before Tom, it was more on like the administrative staff as a group.
We used to bring in a moderator or mediator, moderator.
Oh, it wasn't a moderator,
Okay.
but Ralph sometimes was a mediator, but still Tom did most of the work for Ralph.
Yeah.
So,
And so like before, it was a dinner type thing, and it was less on you, or less on board, and more where we would just pay attention. So I don't know, I mean, because you've done a lot, and a lot has been accomplished. So my question to you is, you've never asked us. It's never really been an option in the last 4 or 5 years. So the question is, do you think, I mean, if nobody really wants to get together for a couple hours unless there's, I council.
Well, I think we have had a phenomenal year with what we set out to do this past year. And I think much of that is attributed to Mr. Jorgensen and the administrative team for grasping a hold of it. And I think the biggest thing is the way that Mr. Jorgensen has kept us informed of what has gone. I think as a board, this is my own personal philosophy, as a board, we'd be very remiss if we didn't have a planning session with our administration. I think they need to get our opinions, and we need to get their opinions, and then we need to reach consensus. I know from Mr. Brooks' perspective, that has almost become his guide for how expenditures are made in the district and things.
There's your answer.
Okay.
Set the date.
Well, let's talk for just a second format. The format seemed to work well the last 2 years where we send out information, you submit it to me electronically, we compile it instead of, first year, remember we sat in here and we all kind of created our lists, and then that took an hour or two, and this way it's all compiled and everything. I think it worked well last year where we did it in an evening instead of taking up a Saturday for people. Because that first couple, I think we were about 5 or 6 hours, started at 8 in the morning and ran through. So I think an evening would be good. Looking ahead at the district calendar, Mr. Miller, is Sawyer playing JV football?
Yes.
Will you be going to away games in Millbank?
I could probably miss that one.
Okay. I hate to put it all on Sawyer, but all right. What that would do then is if we were to look, that would open up for us then the 28th of August, which is a Monday night.
What time do you usually do these?
We usually have done it about the same time as the board meeting, 5 or 5:30. And we try to wrap up by 8:30, 9 at the very, very latest. We bring in sandwiches for us, subs, really is what we do. And I think we've had Mrs. Farrell pick those up in the past, and I think she'll probably do that again, so. So I guess the dates that we initially came up with were the 28th, or the other option without Charlie, I don't know whether Wednesdays are going to be a conflict or not. The other would be to look at a Wednesday such as the 30th of August, or for that matter, even going in as early as the 6th of September. Or as late as the 6th of September.
Personally, I like Mondays.
Okay? 28th look good for everybody? Start at 5:30, just like we do a regular board meeting? Okay? So then the motion would be that we as a board are recommending that the planning and goal-setting retreat be held on August 28th of 2017 at 5:30 p.m. in the boardroom. And the format will be as what it's been in the past, where we'll solicit, we'll discuss, and then rather than taking time to compile everything, we'll ask you as you leave to return to me electronically what your priorities would be. And then that kind of becomes what we operate forward on. So we need a motion for that effect. So moved by Mrs. Sims. Is there a second? All right, now you really made it tough.
Okay, help me.
Yeah, all right. We'll give it to the rookie. We'll give it to Lori. Okay. Further questions or discussion? Got things to add?
Lori would probably want to get the past, like, email, like the last one was.
We actually, Joel shared that with them at orientation.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So we're one step ahead of you, Steve.
Good document. But
What we'll probably do is prior to the 28th, we'll have him again send out an updated, because there will be some additional items that will be updated. And then I'll work with with Joel and determine, how many we want you to submit and kind of go through the ground rules and things. But And we can talk more about that at the August meeting. We can try to bring some of those preliminary plans to you at the August meeting. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the retreat being on 28th of August, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Declare that that has passed. We need someone to adjourn us.
So
Is there a second? Mr. Nelson has the motion.
Second.
All right, Leah, Mrs. Cecil has the second. Undebatable. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Declare the meeting is adjourned. Lori and Rob, they don't always go this fast.